Guess who's back in the Miggy Figgy house with another effing podcast for your Miggy Figgy mouth? It's your boy Glenn Lawrence. I am back. And this is the Blerd podcast, unfiltered space where we like to nerd out and have conversations about fatherhood. It's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a good time, and that's why I'm your host. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Glenn Lawrence, and I just love doing this. I love talking to people, and the person I'm talking to today is pretty awesome. He's pretty amazing. He doesn't like saying that. He doesn't like people giving him compliments. If you see him and you give him a compliment, he shies away from it. Really, really hates it. So I try not to do it, but I do enjoy his company quite a bit. So our guest today is Dewayne White. But before we do that, let me go ahead and tell you about our sponsor, because our sponsor I love even more, and it's They Made Me Wear It. They made me dot wear it. No, they made me wear it. They made me wear dot it. Ooh, you know what? They're great sponsors because they sponsor me, even though I don't get the name of the website right. But that doesn't matter. What you do need to know is that they are dog stylists for the everyday parent. It's a husband and wife team, and they're on a mission to help get your pet into the latest fashions and threads. That you get everything that you need for your pet. You get some socks, you get a scarf, get a sweater, headbands. I talked them into headbands, so I think those are coming. Get a little necklace, and if your pet passes away, they can get you a little memento for that pet. Sad thing that we have to talk about, but it happens, and they'll be there for you when it does. So whether it's a awesome Halloween costume or an adorable dress or like a party gown, whatever you need, they got it for you. They're going to get your fur baby in the latest fashions. And also when you're shopping in their store, get this, you are helping out Hope for Paws, which is an animal rescue organization that is working tirelessly to make sure that these pets are safe and they save the lives of abandoned animals. So check it out. Go look at theymademewearit. I don't know what you're waiting for. And as a matter of fact, if you use code word blerd, you get 15% off at checkout. That's capital BLERD. So they made me wear.it. Go check them out. Woo. We got through that, y'all. I got to get another sponsor too. You know what I mean? Like I am open to accepting more sponsorships. So I think they're coming. A couple of people said they wanted to do some sponsorship things with me, but the check hasn't cleared. So, I can't read it. The check hasn't cleared, y'all. So anyway, our guests for today, because that is what you are hoping to get to, and that's what you want to find out about. You want to know about this guy. He is one of the hottest comedians in the DC DMV comedy scene. He's blown up all over the place. I see his face so much, it makes me sick. It's Dewayne White. He's a DC-based stand-up comedian, and he's combat wounded Army veteran. So now I feel like a jerk for saying that he makes me sick. Thank you for your service, which was 23 years in the Army. So his humor is drawn from his unique take on his military experience, his life as a husband and a father, and the general craziness of that life. He's worked alongside amazing comedians like Glennlawrence, also Glennlawrence, and oftentimes Glennlawrence. And then Josh Blue, Sal Vulcano, Mark Norman, Tony Woods, all these other people. That it's a smorgasbord of incredible comics, including Glennlawrence. Dwayne's also an instructor for the Armed Forces Arts Partnership Comedy Bootcamp. That's a 6-week crash course for service members, veterans, and their family members. And one thing that you also need to know is anger is his love language. So I would like to now welcome to the stream my good friend, Mr. Dewayne White. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? That was good reading, bro.
Was it?
That was good. Yeah, that was a lot of reading in one time. I'm just glad you went something else because I thought you were just going to bring me up right after. You're like, hey, if your pet dies, and Dewayne White.
Well, I know that's like a big pastime of yours, like making your kids realize that death is always possible and taking out the pet. So
yeah, dude, don't make me mad. I'll take the dogs away. I don't care. Makes my life easier.
Dude, what is going on, man? It's good to see you.
Me too, man.
I think when was the last time I
have to say, you read that list of comics. Hold on a second. You read that list of comics, and the one that I would just want to say that I'm most proud of, but as the most of a diva, is Glennlawrence that I've worked with. That guy's a pain. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy?
What's his writer like? His writer.
Oh man, his writer's like, well, must be allowed to show up late. I have to have extra picks for his hair on hand. It's a whole thing, man.
Blue magic.
It's a
Make sure
lot.
blue magic is in the dressing room. I need soul glow. I need soul glow as well to make sure the afro
Well,
shines.
luckily I use that too, so it's perfect. Good.
I do. You got the little cowlick going,
That's
dude.
I know. I got this little thing. I don't know what I'm trying to be young. Look at me. I'm hip. I gray hair and this bangs.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
It's cute. It gives you a little baby face. You look like the Gerber baby if it grew up. You know, like
if the Gerber baby when it got depression.
It's all old now. It's a grizzled veteran.
And Gerber baby just like huddled up in a corner with a cigarette, like that could have been better. This is bullshit.
This is some bullshit.
I don't like this at all.
But that brings up a good point. You were in like the military, and I was like a military brat or whatever, so I kind of know like a little bit of that life, not 100% of the lifestyle, but I feel like you get a lot of it if you're in the family. You know what I mean?
Oh
like
dude.
It's almost like you're serving too, and you know you have to move around and everything. How was it for you? Did you notice the changing your kids? Did you notice them dealing with it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my kids had different experiences. Like my son, he was like old enough to get it, and when we were moving a lot, so it was tough. I think it was tougher on him with the moves. Then when we moved to the DC region, I was like, our daughter was in kindergarten, so she's kind of lived here her whole life, so she didn't get that whole like let's move every 2 years thing like he did. But yeah, I mean it's tough. It is definitely, it's weird, you know. You see people. I know they see people talk about with their friends, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've known each other since kindergarten." He's like, "I've known no one since kindergarten. This sucks."
I know, right? It's crazy though. You do get to like reinvent yourself every time you move. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like,
I mean, yeah, he did that. I mean, at one
like,
post, he was
redo it.
Yeah, one post, Logan was like, sorry, I don't know if I was even supposed to say his name, but he was like, yeah, I mean, he was like a 4.5 foot tall black guy is what he did at one post. And then the next one, he was 6'3" white dude. It's been.
Did you tan him? Is that how you Don't tell me you sent them to
our children do
not
tan.
You sent them to school
no, God,
like,
don't cancel me, man.
Like, trust me, Logan, you're gonna be the coolest kid in the school.
He walks in, he's like, this class is dope.
It's like
what just happened?
Before every school day, you just lather them up with a solution.
This is how I get canceled. Like, Dewayne White sends this kid to school in blackface. Like, that's a joke, right? Like,
yeah. You know what's interesting though? I feel like the world at large, there became a certain point, and I think it was when I started comedy that people just forgot that there were jokes. Because like in my personal life, I'll say something and it's like clearly to me as a joke, and the people are like, oh, and they get like very, very sensitive, and you know what I mean? Like it's almost like joking, like in our comedian realm, we still know about jokes, but it's like in the real world, people forgot about jokes or something.
Well, we're not humans in comedy. We're not good people. And if you go around, it just happened to me. I went back did this reunion with some old friends, and I was doing typical like we talk when we're sitting around a green room or we're sitting around a show. And then it kind of hit me about halfway through the night. It was like, these people think I'm a terrible human being. The things I've said, they're just like, is he serious? Like, I'm a comedian. I just want to say that real quick before.
Let me just go ahead and make sure that y'all know. It's funny because I got into comedy as I was like working, so it's like there's a switch. And I didn't recognize it because I thought I was always joking, but then I would, kind of take it to the next level as we do. And then I was noticing people around the office. What?
Is he okay? Is he gonna shoot this place up?
No. They don't think about black people shooting the place up. They just think about us stealing. That's like, I don't know what they say random shit to me, and I'm just like, what? I've been working here for years. What? Yeah. Like, I hope this doesn't turn up missing, and then they do the little nudge. By the way, white people, we never think it's funny if you say don't steal this. It's not a joke. That's not a funny joke at the office.
Has that been said to you before?
Yeah, it's just randomly. It just comes out. Just like what the hell are you talking about?
Oh my god, dude, that's awesome.
But I guess it's their. I don't know what. I guess it's their way to relate, and I'm just like, what?
That's not a good way to relate.
Not at all. I don't get it.
say anything.
Try to bring,
Oh,
I bring it up in meetings with the big boss. Just be like, hey, remember that time you were talking about stealing?
And you looked right at me.
Yeah, right. But
how about don't do fish in the break room, Steve? How about that one? Don't heat that up.
like,
That's
how do your kids handle your comedy around the office? How do you deal with that?
around the house, at the
Yeah.
office? Like, I don't take my kids to work. No, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I think my son digs it. He still thinks it's fun, and my daughter thinks it's cool, but she refuses to go to any shows.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, she went when I first started. She'd go to some stuff, and now she's like, nope. I'm like, you want to go to this? She's like, absolutely, I do not.
Mm.
So I don't know what the difference is.
Was it a joke that you told and then she stopped going, or was it like just in general? I don't want to see my dad up there.
I don't know. It's weird, man. There was a definite switch that flipped. It was. I don't think I said any joke, because anything I talk about with her in it, I always kind of get her approval to talk about, because I try.
Right.
But I mean, I might run it at an open mic once, and then I'll be like, okay, this had legs. I'm going to talk about you being, active, whatever. I was like, are you cool with it? She's like, yeah, absolutely. But like, I don't know, man. It was just, there was like a switch that flipped. I don't know what happened. It was just like one night she was like, yeah, I'll go. And then she's like, I don't think so.
No
I don't
more.
want to see this anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's when I wrote my sex toys joke. Maybe it's about that time. So maybe that just weirded her out. I don't know.
That's like finding out too much about your parents too fast.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. I've noticed that when my son's in a room, sometimes I'll tell jokes. I'll be like, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. But
well, it's like those inner monologue thoughts. I kind of worry about that, thinking about like a little dude. By the way, you said, oh, I don't know if I should say his name. I've been like combating this because I don't like to say my son's name like on air, but I'm like, it's weird because I'm sure it's out there somewhere out in the world, but it's just for some reason I'm like, I don't like to.
Well, yours is a little guy too. You know what I mean? I mean, I get that. I'd be protective of that too. I don't blame you for that. Mine are both adults now, on paper, and it's just, not in real life. They're just on paper adults, because they're still here. But yeah.
And by here you mean in the house, not like alive.
Yes, I mean living with me. I mean, I'm like 3 weeks away from being a completely empty nester. Until Christmas time. So
really?
Yeah, man. I'm not wearing pants anymore.
Do you know what you're gonna do for like when they're gone? Do you know?
Probably just party. I think just drink all day. No, I don't know, man. I mean, I mean, it's kind of been like that before, because like the son's been off to college, the daughter was in school, and it didn't feel like they were really here all the time until like summertime.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like we get a pretty good rhythm going. It's like, it's like being a grandparent without being a grandparent, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what it's like. We're just like, I want to go eat right now. You want to go? Yeah, let's go.
You know what you could also just, you could take an edible or drink a Still Reserve and go see a movie like in the middle of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have all these things that just open up to you that you could do that you can't really do with kids, because you got to.
Well, brother, let me tell you something. Just having quit the day job several years ago, it is so nice. Like my wife used to be like, "Oh, I love it here." I'm like, "I hate it here. It sucks," because everything you did was fighting traffic. Then when you're home, you would go to stores on the same days that everybody else was. And my wife's like, "I love it here." I'm like, "I hate it here. You live in a different place." And now that I'm home during the day, I'm like, I can go to Target and it doesn't suck. I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand.
It is a different life, because I started teleworking when I came out this way, and it is a different life when you don't have to like do the rat race, be in traffic, and
oh my God,
and only go around to like stores when everyone else has days off or whatever. It's totally just a game changer.
It's totally, dude. It's so much fun. Like I get my wife goes, I just like to people watch. I'm like, I don't people watch. I don't have time to people watch. I love people watching. I just love sitting somewhere watching people lose their minds over things that don't matter. It's beautiful. It's so much fun.
You're one of the happiest, grumpiest people that I know. Like
I'm the lovable, angry guy. That's how I try to sell it.
Your general demeanor is like happiness underneath, but then it's just always covered with like a veil of anger.
A layer of Don't fuck with me.
Just like you just you know what it is though. I know what it is because as a black dude, when I'm walking around, especially like late at night, I put on the mean face or whatever,
Yeah.
so everyone's like, oh, like I want people to like be like, oh, like he might be the one who's going to get me, so that the ones who are going to get you don't try to jump on you. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta walk around with a scowl. Matter of fact, my college roommate, I forgot. I came home. I forgot when it was. I came home. I was just like, yo, you know what I hate? I hate it when I'm out at these stores and then white people always think I work there. And then he was like, that's because you walk around smiling all the time.
Yeah, you look happy. You look like you're ready to help somebody. Don't do that. Don't. No, I think maybe it's a military thing because you just get really good at the
Right.
the
Right.
deadpan, and I used to go to Russia all the time. And dude, if you're outside your house over there, you do not smile, right? Because they have this mentality like if you're happy, you're screwing me somehow, and so
Right.
everybody's angry outside,
Right.
and so I think it's between those two things. I'm always just like, I don't know.
I've noticed over because I've traveled over there too to the Eastern Bloc, as they say, but I was in Poland. And I noticed that no one smiles over there. It was like a very funny thing, like you were saying, no one smiles over there, and also it's all gray. Like every day,
Yeah,
the sunny days are just gray. It's just gray all the time.
Don't come back in winter. It's very depressing. Yeah, dude.
Even in the summer,
man.
it's like gray. It's just like it's a sunny gray or like a cold gray. It's all gray.
It's sepia. I don't know. It is weird, dude. It's a different thought process, man. It's just everything is just if we make you sad, you'll work harder. What? That doesn't make sense. I don't understand that mentality.
It is, yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but I mean, I think, but over here, it's like if we show you enough shiny shit, then you'll work harder. It's like,
no, if we do this, then you will eventually start taking antidepressants, and you'll be fine. That's what.
So this is something that people may or may not know, but you speak Russian. Dos vidanias.
I do. Dos vidania. Well, okay, that means goodbye. So that's a weird way to start, but that's cool.
I thought it was like aloha. You could say it coming or going.
No, it means literally until we see one another again.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. That was my first job in the Army. They taught me Russian. That was one of those. I had a teacher in high school that told me I could not learn a foreign language. A Spanish teacher. Her exact words were, "I don't think you have the ability to ever learn a foreign language." So I decided to join the Army to become a linguist, which has no logic to it at all.
I think it's hilarious. That's hilarious. Here in my mind, I'm like, the teacher told you can't learn a foreign language. Like, you know what? Yeah, I can. I'm gonna learn the white one.
What's this? Watch this, Miss Gandy.
Watch this.
Not that I'm bitter, but I've tried to find her on Facebook so many freaking times. If anybody knows where Miss Gandy went to. So here's the thing about I grew up in North Texas. I was living there. Well, I grew up in Illinois. I was in North Texas for high school, right? And all the Spanish teachers, every one of them was just literally waiting on their call to come to work for American Airlines. That was it. Every one of them was just waiting to go work for American Airlines. So you got a lot of these like, huh?
Were they cute?
Some were. Oh my gosh. Miss Alston, I don't know where you are, but she was my Spanish 2 teacher. She's the reason I took second year Spanish. But
probably the reason you couldn't concentrate.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. She was like 23. I was like, this is not fair. But she was hooked up with the freaking German teacher. It was a whole weird thing, but it was good. It was good. But if Miss Gandy, if you're out there, show yourself, make yourself known, so I can tell you you're wrong.
Look what I'm. It's like how you started comedy, just searching for Miss Gandy. That should be the name of your comedy special.
Where you at, Miss Gandy?
Where you at, Miss Gandy? Dude, but yeah, no, you know what's interesting because talking about like learning languages.
Yeah.
Morgan, I said his name.
There you go.
There you go. It comes out. But
right
my son, like we sit him down, and you know how you have kids and you let them like watch something or whatever, and then they like put it on repeat. What we started doing is putting it on the different languages. So if he's watching something on repeat, then we'll change the language to Spanish, and then he'll watch that on repeat for a bunch of time, and then change the language to like Portuguese or whatever. Because
okay, but do you speak Spanish?
I speak Spanish. I mean,
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I can speak. I speak Spanish and
You
Portuguese.
speak
Right.
Spanish, or do you speak Spanish like I speak Spanish? Like, hey, I have a 426
So
day streak
so
on
here's the thing.
Duolingo, but that doesn't mean I speak anything.
Here's the thing. I speak Spanish and I have been to Spanish speaking countries. And when I was there, I was solid, but I haven't like it's like, if you don't speak it for a while, you start swimming in it
Oh, for
again.
sure.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I was never fluent, but I was like conversational. And
Yeah.
same thing with Portuguese. I wasn't fluent, but I was like conversational. But then I just haven't spoke them in so long that it's very like choppy now. But if I
Oh,
was
for
like
sure.
thrown into the situation again, it would like start kind of coming
Oh,
back.
yeah. It come back.
Sort of.
It come back quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
it was nice when I was learning it. You know what I mean? To be able to communicate with. I think that's what opens up the world, being able to communicate with
Oh,
different
for sure,
people.
dude.
And the smile and the way that people light up when you know their language, I feel like that's something that even you could be happy about.
I can be happy. Yeah, I mean, it's fun, man. When and even if you try, like even if people just try, even if you suck at it, they'll be like, well, at least they're giving it a shot. You're gonna say something stupid if you try. That'll happen because
Right.
things that you think they're one thing and they're not. One time I told a Russian or a Kazakh colonel that he had that the reason he had a hangover because we had too many preservatives in our beer, and that means condom in Russian. So he's like, preservative. I'm like, oh, he's like, no, Dewayne. I don't know what you're trying to say, but that's not it. I'm like, oh, my bad. Sorry, man. My fault.
You just
I,
outed the Russian general.
I do apologize, bro.
Yeah, dude.
There's
Or
no
you could,
condoms in this
you know
beer.
what? If you do a gaff good enough, you can have a whole career out of it, like Bert Kreischer.
That's true. That is true. I love that story. I could go toe to toe with Bert on Russia stories for sure, dude.
Oh, word.
I used to take West Point cadets to Russia for like a summer immersion program, and to have those kids on a train to wherever was amazing. So many good stories, so many ridiculous things happen. It's just
Is
but
it
now I'm
similar
like,
to,
I don't want to tell them because I don't want people to go, oh man, you're just copying Bert. Like, no, these are real things that happen. Like,
I used to
real.
no, see, now you got to tell these on stage. I got to hear these.
Oh man.
These sound like they're incredible. Now, do they have like real like Russian gangsters in like their own car on the train? Is that like a thing?
Oh, so it's different a little bit now, but like then, what you don't understand, like in the early 2000s, like 99, 2000, like the mafia controlled literally everything. I mean everything, and it was insane, and it was a different mafia. Like it was like here we think of mafia like we think of dudes in the back of an Italian restaurant. Like I would go in and they would have the bulls, which you could tell they were like the enforcer guys in their sweatsuits and giant gold chains and all this crap. They would sit around like they would be in a Baskin Robbins and just sitting around chatting it up. Like that's where they were planning and stuff. And it was so like you had to have mafia protection. Like to get into Pizza Hut, I was over there in like I think it was 2000. It was summer 2000, and like walking into a Western style Pizza Hut or something like that, they had people standing there with like MP5s, like just guarding the place, and like
At
yeah,
the
they
Pizza
do.
Hut?
And so because they would just judge like I think this person can afford it, or I don't think they can afford it, so they wouldn't let you in. They'd let us in because we were stupid Americans, and they're like, yeah, come on in. I know you guys got money, but it was so crazy. And then people walk up, they're like, no, they would just.
They're just not like whether you can
No.
afford it or not. They'd just be like, nah.
They're just like look at you and go, nah, you're not coming in. It was nuts, dude. At a Pizza Hut, bro. They controlled everything. The mafia controlled everything in Russia. They had Pizza Huts, all the stuff that we think of normal mafia stuff, they weren't even there yet. Like they were running all the stuff that we think of as just like normal businesses. They're like, because they did all racketeering. It was all about like, oh, you need protection. Like from who? From me. Okay, well, here you go. Here's some money. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. They ran everything.
That sounds like
And probably still do. Honestly, it's just now they're wearing suits instead of tracksuits.
Well, that's what happens. The gangsters all of a sudden go into politics, and then they're running the country.
Yeah, not that we're saying any specific person.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. This is I don't like. I'd love like traveling. And when wait, first of all, have you done comedy in Russia? Have you done it?
No. I will never go back to Russia. I will.
Oh,
never
really?
go back. So my last real job, I was actually a nuclear weapons inspector. I would go to Russia and look at their nukes and stuff. And like, I was going there on like a real, like a diplomatic passport. Like I would never go there under like non-diplomatic cover
Really?
or non-diplomatic like protection. I would never do that.
Wasn't there a time when you could like go to like you could just go chill over there?
Yeah, but I mean, you still can. Like, you can go over there, you get a visa and stuff. But I just, it's too easy for them to screw you. Like all they got to do is be like, "Oh, look, there's a thumb drive in your backpack we found, and you're going to be in our jail for 15 years." Like, no, thank you.
So,
Nope,
but
I'm not going back.
I feel like it's weird because I guess in the 80s or so, when I was growing up in the 90s, there was like a period where you could go to like China, you could go to Russia, and it was just
Yeah.
like it might have been weird, but it wasn't like, detrimental to your health. And now it's just like you may be detained, we may torture you.
Well, the 90s were cool because you could just, as long as you bribed people, you were good. And you still can. I mean, you bribe your way out of stuff, but it was like, as long as you had the money to bribe. And back then you could bribe someone with like, I got jacked with in Ukraine one time. I was on the Black Sea and these three cops, they shook us down, They said we were drinking on the beach, which was we were, and it was technically illegal. But they're like, we gave them like, I forget, the equivalent of like $17 to leave us alone and not arrest us. And I was like, okay, that was cool, that was fine. But that now you're like, they're too rich. You can't bribe them with anything. Like, I'll buy you an oil company. That's how I would. That's what you would have to do. It's crazy.
It's all fun and games when the bribes are cheap,
Yeah, dude. When the bribes get heavy, I ain't coming. No, sir. Thank you very much. I love it.
Nice. I noticed you also you picked up a wife while you were over there. That's cool.
I did. Not in Russia, but in Germany. Yes.
But I feel like we have very parallel lives in these respects, because my first wife was also from the Eastern Bloc.
Germany is not the Eastern Bloc.
No, she's from Poland. Poland definitely is the Eastern Bloc, isn't it?
I understand that, but you're saying like we have similar. Like, my wife is from Germany. That's the West. She was from the good part
the West
of Germany too.
Okay.
She was from West Side.
Okay. Well, because when you go over there, it's like, like Poland's in the middle, and then it has like German influence and then Russian influence. I guess Poland separates the two, right?
Ish. Yeah.
Okay. If my geography serves.
I mean, Poland was definitely Eastern Bloc. All of it. There was no like East Poland, West Poland, like Germany, man. I want to get into geography of it all, but yes.
Poland, when you go over there, there's like a ridge of where like all the architecture is Russian, and then the other ridge where it's like all German, because they were just like ping ponging back and forth, and you can see like the line of where it was like it's very interesting. Like, they don't really have anything like that in the US. Like, you can't, I guess maybe the racism, there's a ridge with how the racism works in the US. Like, that's their differences between like the North
East Virginia and West Virginia. It's the thing. I don't know. There's definitely demarcation lines for sure. But that's usually within the cities itself. It's not so much.
But having a foreign wife, that's solid, right?
It's fun. Yeah, I think everybody should get one. I really do. I think you should just go pick one up. They're great. Good return policy, 10 years. I mean, that's better than a Kia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
I thought
it was
7 years. I thought it was 7 years.
Okay, well, it depends on what you tell them. Depends. They don't know.
Here's what you don't know is I don't think a lot of people know this, but if you get married to a foreigner, like, no matter what happens, you're just responsible for them for whatever they do while they're in like the States or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I was like, I didn't read the fine print. You mean if she jaywalks, I'll be in trouble?
Yeah, like you brought her here. Like,
yeah. It's like, wait,
man, what if she turns out to be a horrible person? What if she comes over and like murders people? You're like, I'm like, what happens then? Like, I'll pay for all her shots. Like, I don't care about that. But
yeah, I don't know. But that's I don't know. It's kind of a fun fun experience. I don't know if I'd do it again, because I got a great American made one, so
yeah,
we're going strong.
I mean, I started with I feel like I started with the higher end, like, BMW, Mercedes, whereas, Poland, you kind of went with the Lada. It's okay. I mean, it's good. It's good, but
you
now
know what?
upgraded.
It's for you, it's a great status symbol, but it's a lot of maintenance, and it's expensive.
Okay, I talk a lot of trash about my wife. I will say that, and you know that. I talk about her on stage a lot.
Yeah.
I talk about her with her in the room, which is not safe. But I will say she is pretty low maintenance as a
Oh,
rule.
it's
She's
nice.
pretty damn low maintenance, man. She is I don't know. I got a good one in that sense. She doesn't I don't have to worry about like, her going out and spending bajillion dollars on shoes and
Mm. How's
jewelry and
how's the like so how is the I guess the child rearing, because that's what I'm because in the thick of right now, you know what I mean? Like we
oh
have like,
yeah.
as a matter of fact, we're on the same page, me and Steph, a lot about like how to raise him, but I could see how it would be very, very difficult if people weren't on the same page with those things. And then her coming from like another place, you know what I mean? They have like a different idea of how to like
Yeah.
take care of the kids. How was it for you all?
I don't know, man. I think honestly, when they were younger, we were probably more on the same page. I think
Mhm.
we were really, really on the same page. We kind of made a decision early that it wasn't going to be like child-centered parenting. We're like, they're going to be, it's where it's like everything revolves around the kids. We kind of made that decision, and so we kind of said, hey, I think that worked for
Right.
us at the time. I think as they got older, we had a little more headbutting on what we thought was right, and because both of us came from pretty crappy childhoods from pretty busted up families, so we're like, hey, this worked in mine. It's like, no, it didn't. Neither of neither our families are functional. So we're both screwed.
Uh,
And so I think especially like as my son got older, he and I started butting heads a lot, and she, oh, it's my baby and all that. And then as my daughter got older, or as our daughter got older, they started butting heads more, as moms and daughters do. And so it was really weird. And neither of us knew what the hell we were doing. So
mhm.
at
Yeah.
least she had sisters. I was an only child till my dad remarried when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something like that. And so like I had no idea on how to raise kids. I have no clue. It was
Ah.
ridiculous. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is funny when you grow up, you say like, this worked for me, and it's like you don't really know what worked. It didn't really work for you, it's just what you had. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, whatever
that's
you
the
saw
norm.
was right.
Yeah, right. It's like
She actually got into it in Germany a couple times because like, she would take the kids over to Germany and she would like, swat them on the butt or something. Not like abusing them, not crazy, but like, or smack them on the hand. And she had Germans come up and like be like, you can't do that. That's child abuse. And she's like, shut up. I'm from America. She was I'm like, that's not good PR, but I like
not
I
great
figured
PR
mine.
at all.
She was.
But
She's like, shut up.
I
I'm an
don't know.
American.
Where do you fall on the spanking spectrum? Because here's my opinion.
Mm,
I feel like there, I don't necessarily want to spank, regardless of what
yeah.
stereotypes are. I don't like spanking, you know what I mean? I don't want to spank the kid. However, I do think that like, I think it's necessary in moments where they're doing something that would cause them physical harm, or like something, they go out into the world and something that would, harm them.
I
Otherwise,
think
like if they like spill some juice or something, I don't think that's worthy of spanking. But if they're like touching the stove, I think you have to like inflict a little harm to be like, hey, that's going to hurt. Like, don't do that. So they equate
getting
the two
smacked
things
on the
together.
butt hurts a lot less than I I don't know.
The disfigurement. Yeah.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard, dude. That's a hard question because it's like I think uh,
Do
I
you
was
like
always
beating kids, Dwayne? Is what I'm saying.
yeah, I'm all
That's a
for
weird
it. They should all. I would like to beat other kids. I don't want to beat my own kids. I want to beat other people's kids. That I think should be a lot. That was how it was when I grew up. So that's the weirdest part about spanking is we all. That's the only justification we have. It's like, well, this is how it was when I was a kid. And
Yeah,
like
right.
that's not. We also had polio at one point, so that doesn't count. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I always thought like if it was something where they blatantly chose to do something like
Mhm.
bad, like if they knew this rule and they're like, hey, screw you, I'm doing it anyway, like maybe that was more, of an appropriate time. I don't know if we did it right. I know we kind of went, and this is just me. I mean, it was harder for me to spank like my daughter than it
Right.
was to spank my son
Right, right.
because it just felt wrong. I was like, this
Yeah.
doesn't. Now my wife beat the shit out of her, but no, I'm just kidding. That's not true. But it was just
But
harder for me. Like it
she
made
was
more
less
sense to spank.
apprehensive about it.
Here's what we did, and this is not good. I'm not saying this is the right answer, but it kind of works. So instead of spanking them, I'd use the military stuff, and I would do like physical training to like punish them or to get them. Like they did a lot of sitting on the wall, like to the point where it was probably abusive, where they would sit like in a Roman chair. I'm like, put your arms out. They'd be like, ah, and they would freak out more over that. That would hurt them more than if I would spank them. You know what I mean?
It's like
crazy.
working out. It's like you realize this is what Michael Jordan, this is what LeBron does. Like,
yeah,
I'm actually making you better. Like,
yeah, making you better.
Like,
yeah, maybe the verbal abuse at the same time was too much, but on the chair, on the wall, I'm like, get on the wall, and I would just like, until I'd be like, you gonna do this anymore? Like, no, okay, cool, we're done. But I mean, and again, who knows? We all suck. I mean, they're gonna be in therapy no matter what. Like we screwed it up,
you have good kids. They're very well adjusted. They're solid. This is why I'm asking. This is why I wanted you to come on the show, because you've actually.
That's a real reason. You're just asking parenting questions. All right.
No, I mean that's part of it. It's not mostly parenting questions. It's like we just but I do like to get insight on people who have done it successfully. You know what I mean? Because there is like some degree of
nobody
success.
knows if they're success. I don't know if it's successful yet. I appreciate your compliment. I know what you're saying. Like they can handle themselves when they go outside. They are not like they can order a meal at a restaurant and not like look like crazy people. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what success is. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I could train them to be like the perfect people, but then they're miserable. It's like, I don't know. I don't know.
True.
I screwed up a lot of things. My parents screwed up a lot of things. They'll screw up things. Who knows? Nobody knows what they're doing until, nobody knows if they were successful until, they don't come back.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
I think you gotta send them out into the world and ensure that they have the ability to have joy or experience happiness. And if you give them that much, I feel like you've succeeded. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to send them out into the world and then they're never able to be happy and they got all this anxiety or whatever. So I feel like as long as you send them out into the world and they have some,
Yeah, and then they're in their 40s and they have a midlife crisis. But no, here's the thing that brings me the most joy of parenting is, and you were part of this. You were at my house at a barbecue recently, and you and another family that has young children were sitting around discussing and saying, and you would say things like, well, this is the da 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 way. And I was sitting there, I was just watching the two of you go back and forth about like how the smartest way to do it. I was like, you guys have no clue yet. You have no idea what you're in for yet. It's so cute to watch you. And we all do it. We're all like, I was a great parent until I had kids. I'll put it that way. I knew.
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
And then I had them. I'm like, this is much harder than it makes it out to be.
Wait, is it like that every step of the way? So like right now,
absolutely.
The young stage, and I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do when he gets 5 and 6. I know that part, and then when you get there, you're like, oh, I didn't know.
You don't have a clue what you're gonna do because you don't know what they're gonna be like. and as soon as you figure it out, they change. You're like, damn it, I had it. I had it figured out, and then you changed, and now it's like the thing you loved last week you hate. And the thing you couldn't stand, you love, and you can't live without. And it changes every day. And you're like, who are you right now? And they're developing, they're growing. And it's so easy to look back and go, well, here's what you do. But like when you're in it, you're just trying to survive, bro. You are trying. I said this, I think I did it on stage one time. Parenting is like, remember that show Minute to Win It?
Yeah.
Remember when that show was out and you'd watch these things and you go, God, it's so easy. Why is it so hard for these people? It's just 5 ping pong balls in a Kleenex box, on a belt. Why can't you get them out? And then you have that and you're like, and then they come out with the home game, which is having kids. And you're like, this shit is tough. I can't figure this out. It makes no sense.
It's funny. It's like we were talking about hitting and spanking, and everyone's like, you shouldn't hit kids. You shouldn't. It's like, yo, what if they hit me? Like, because they're constantly swinging.
Yeah.
Like he'll walk up and he'll just be like, yeah, and he's got a pretty good haymaker, and he'll
he's
connect.
right at your crotch.
Yeah. And there's been a couple times I gotta like because it's just like a reaction. Most dudes, you get hit, it's like a reaction to like attack back.
Yeah.
And there's been multiple times where I had to like mid reaction be like, I love you.
My daughter did that. I told you, my daughter axe kicked me in the eyeball one time when she was little. We were just laying like in bed, like feet each this way, and she just goes out of nowhere. She goes, "Waka!" pow, right, and her little ankle went. I thought I was blind. I was like, I'm blind. I can't see out of my
You see
left
like
eyeball
black and blue
anymore.
for a second, like
Oh, dude, I had no idea, and I was so mad. I was like, "What are you doing?" Ah! And I think I scared the living crap out of her, and it was because it was just reaction. I'm like, "Daddy, sorry, but he can't see out of his left eye now
Daddy,
because of
sorry.
you."
And now
So
he has an eye patch for the
yeah,
it's like-
now Dad can't be in the military anymore, so we're poor. So it's good, but it's not your fault.
So on here, usually
Uh-oh.
when people come on, not usually, all the time, when people come on here, there's like a question, like, what do you like to nerd out about? What is the thing that, if I had to say Dewayne White is a nerd because he likes X, what would it be?
Man, what do I nerd out about? Obviously comedy, but that's a boring answer.
Yeah.
Hunting, I think hunting, especially
Are
like
you a
bow
hunting
hunting and
nerd?
stuff.
Can you be
I
a
am a
hunting
hunting
nerd?
nerd. I like, get into it, man. Like I get into it. I mean, it's harder now because I'm busier than I was, but like it's yeah, dude, like with the bow hunt, especially with bows, you can nerd out on that. Like you can trick out a bow, like you can spend $1 million doing it. Like Logan, our
Wait, you can
son,
spend $1 million on tricking out your
not $1
bow?
million, but
No,
you
I
can
mean,
spend.
but you
They're
could
not
get
cheap,
like,
dude. Like a base bow is like $1,300, like just for the base. Then you put a few $100 in sights, and your arrows are like tons of money, and it's expensive.
what's a good hunting setup gonna run you? Like what would like if you wanted to be an elite, like not the extra shit that isn't necessary, but like if you want to be an elite straight up, like you got the best bow with the best arrow, best
Well, it depends
sight.
what you're doing. Like if you're target shooting, like my son target shoots like for school, right? Like he's a competitive archer. That's a lot different than like a bow hunting setup, right? Like I bow hunt. I would say around 2 G's to really get everything set up. But then you got to buy a stand. You got to buy stands to hunt out of because you're not hunting off the ground really with a bow. You got to buy clothes that don't smell. I mean, dude, it's an endless cycle of throwing money away. And like, if you do that as like how many pounds, what am I paying per pound of meat that I get? It's not a good ratio. It's not, it's not a good deal at all, but it's fun. But you can geek out on it. Like every little thing is there's different ways to shoot. There's different ways to have your, they have arrow rest, the thing your arrow sets on, they have dropaways and this and that. And there's a million different ways you can go.
Drop away.
Well, it's like an arrow set on something, and it's got like a cable that's kind of like acts as a lever. So when you pull so you hold it back here and you pull the little trigger to release the string, it drops so that because what you're trying to do is get the arrow to touch really nothing, right? It's not what I use as a setup, but that way it flies truer. It's all about like, and the littlest little tweak will jack your arrow up, right?
Interesting.
So like, yeah, dude, it's crazy. And like, I mean, the littlest, that's why bow hunting's so hard. If I'm like this and I do this, or I do this, or I move my hand, or I change the angle, it's all a totally different animal.
I think I saw this. This is, of course, I saw this in a movie. But don't people like shoot like this, like the Native Americans? Don't they shoot like this?
Oh, you watched Avatar? Okay.
Well, I think it was Avatar. There's another movie, Prey.
Avatar, they're all backwards and stuff. Yeah. It depends. So it depends. Like there's so many different things. Like I have a loop that goes on my string. It's a little tiny loop. It's called a D loop, and I have a little. I have a thing that goes on my wrist, and then it has like a little tube and a clamp, and it goes onto there, and then I pull it back like this, and I just pull that as a trigger. And like my son, he uses a different one. It's a thumb release, so he hooks it onto the string and pulls it back, and then clicks it with his thumb, and it's a whole different animal. There's things that just use back tension, where you just like move your back a certain way. There's people that fire with their fingers, but that's like not nearly as accurate. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how much. And then you got your broadheads. What kind of broadhead am I going to shoot? Am I going to do fixed blade? Am I going to do mechanical? What kind of mechanical am I going to do? It's crazy, dude. There's so many combinations.
It's crazy
it's
when
like
you get
Legos.
older. When you get older, and like like the things on your body that don't work as much. Because I feel like when I was younger, like my fingers could like finely tune, like grab things more. And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, wait, why are my hands not able to like grip this thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like I used to, or like it's just like,
dude, I was in
like,
physical therapy today and like testing my grip strength. I get it. Trust me. I'm not in good shape.
I don't know if you have it. You know the little springy things that you do this to get your.
I don't have those. But where is it?
Listen,
I have some things that I bought my daughter. She used to rock climb, and I bought him this, and because I had elbow surgery years ago, and what we found out today was that like because of that, my whole forearm and bicep are like compensating for my weak like elbow and so like I bought her. All right, I got him, and she quit rock climb. My kids have quit a lot of things, but it's like this rubber band. It looks like rubber brass knuckles. You stick your fingers in and you do this and make them strong, make your grip stronger. It's so crazy.
I can't wait to get on stage and roast you for having weak elbows.
Just one. Because I fell.
You got a weak elbow.
I fell on the way to work when I was in New York. And I got
like
surgery.
on ice?
No, it was just these rocks. I was up in New York, and the rocks were all mossy, and it was like I had to take the shortcut through the woods to get to my office, and it was like I just slipped one day. I was walking in, and I just all of a sudden I saw my feet, and I was like, "This is bad," and I bam right on my elbow. So I went to the.
So you were up in the air and you saw your feet.
Yeah, I was like, "This is bad." You know how it happens in slow motion when you're like, "Oh boy."
Wait, where do you work that you have to walk through mossy rocks?
I was at West. I was when I was teaching up in New York, and it was like, but it was the parking situation was so bad that I found this like secret hidden parking spot that then I would walk down this trail in the woods over these rocks to get to the back door of the building I was at. It's a whole thing. But we had so many weird little parking areas that we would like kind of finagle our way through the woods to get to work. It was crazy, man. It was nuts. And then I just busted my elbow up, got infected. They had to take out part of my tendon. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Is that the moment where you said, I'm going full-time comedy? Like I'm quitting. Like, was that the moment where you're just like, you know what? Screw this.
That was a long time ago. That was when I was young and could heal fast.
Right.
I don't know. If it happened today, I would probably just be like, okay, I'm dead. Just put me out. Like treat me like a horse.
Yeah. Speaking of happening today, did you see the latest Lizzo news? I had to put you on the spot because I know you've been a long time.
I hate her so much. I'm sorry.
Whatever the opposite of fandom is for Lizzo, that's what you were feeling.
I don't like her, and I'm sorry to everyone who does. I know she has a huge fan base, and I've brought her up in DC before, and it did not go well. When I've made fun of her on stage, people love her, and I've always thought she was
loved.
Huh?
They loved her.
Good. I've always thought she was kind of a bitch, and now it's coming out that yes, she has been. Here's where I lost it for her, and I don't know if I've ever told you this before. Here's where I knew I hated her, like when she was when her song was all over TikTok, and everybody was doing the little dance on TikTok to her song. In a minute, I'm gonna need that one, right? And it's a good song. She's a good artist. She can sing like crazy. But she made a TikTok complaining about how people were dancing to her song wrong. She's like, it's not this, it's this. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, you have the most popular song on TikTok. What you do is come out and go, hey guys, thanks so much for making me number one. But she came out and was like, you guys are screwing up my song. This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, she's a bitch. I don't like her anymore.
You're about to hate me for what I'm about to say.
Come on.
What Lizzo does to that song is what you do to grammar. Like you're pronouncing things wrong. You're not supposed to say it like this. It's like, shut up, man. We can say it anyway we want.
That's when you just use the wrong word, though, man. And you like expect us to just go, oh, okay, I know what he meant.
That's what. Here's the thing.
Here's the deal. If your video, if a video of you saying the wrong word is the #1 video on TikTok, got it.
That is fine.
I will not say a word.
Here's the thing, and this is what I think, because English, as opposed to other languages, I feel like English is not an improvised language, but an interpretive language, where
it's a language of exceptions.
Yeah, exactly. So like people will interpret what your meaning is from your sentence, as opposed to like you have to rigidly say like the word and pronounce it correctly. And I think it comes from having so many different cultures mixed into one pot to speak this one thing.
But let's be clear, you're talking about a specific incident that happened last night where you just said it. We also I recognize that we can interpret
I'm talking Pacifics. I'm talking Pacifics.
Irregardless. Listen, if I fully recognize that, and I agree with that. However, if you use a different word, words also have meanings. And
That's
if you
true.
use one that means something completely different, then that's not the same word. That's just not mispronouncing it. That's saying the wrong thing, which we all do.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy now, and I know this because
Lizzo.
of Morgan, and as we're like teaching them, like that is how they're teaching the kids to read. They're not teaching them to spell out words. They're teaching them to guess and assume what the word is based on like the
Sight work,
context
kind of,
clues
right?
and what it looks like. So a lot of
Right.
kids are like, it's fine if you have the same book every time.
Okay, but what happened to you?
I'm actually
I don't even remember what you said last night. You said something. I was like, dude, that is the wrong word, Glenn.
I like to do it. You know why? Because I was saying your wife's name, and this I will always remember. This is like one of our first times meeting. I was saying your wife's name because I thought it was correct. I don't know if you mind. I say what her name, but her name's Imka, and I was hearing Inka, and so I thought I knew her name, dude. And then I came up to you and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Inka," and I would say it like, and I was saying it quickly. And you're like, you're not saying her name right. I was like, yeah, you don't. He's like, you don't know her name. And I was like, I know her name. And then you're like, say her name. And I was like, Inka. And then you were like,
you're not saying it right. I'm like, that's not what
you were like, spell it. And I was like,
I did say that.
Has ever given me a spell check in real life.
I remember that. I go,
you didn't pronounce every M.
I go, what did you say? And you're like, Inka. I go, spell what you just said.
No, wait, time out. You did not say it like that. You said spell it. You like gritted your teeth and pointed like, spell it.
You're making me sound like the bad guy in like every Spike Lee movie right now. Like, dude, what are we doing?
You know, it'd be great. We had a buddy cop movie. That was a buddy cop moment right there.
Oh my god, dude!
Spell it.
Spell it right now. What are you saying? That's true. That is.
It made me laugh because
I will say this:
because you got you were right. You got me. I was like, all right, now I think I'm saying it, and then I spelled it. And you're like, no. But you were very nice when you corrected me.
I have exceptionally good hearing. Like I really do. And I hear everything. And I don't know if that's because of, the time as a linguist in the Army. I don't know if it's just, the way it is. I don't know. But it's weird because like I hear things when people say them and I'm like, that's weird. And I pick up on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I guess when you're language learning, you do, because phonetics in a lot of different languages are very different. Like if you're speaking, like Vietnamese or something, or Russian, or a lot of these different. Shut the F up, Dewayne. It's Vietnamese. What is it? What did I say? It's Vietnamese. What did I say wrong? Why are you
say it again?
Crazy?
Say it again.
It's Vietnamese.
No.
Vietnamese.
No.
Viet on my knees.
What's the name of the country?
Vietnam.
Okay. Now just put an ease on the end of that word.
Vietnamese. No, that's
there you go. Vietnamese.
It's Vietnamese.
No.
Vietnamese.
Switch the N and the M, bro. You're doing it backwards.
That's what we do. I've noticed. You know what I've noticed as I've gotten older black, I just don't pronounce things correctly. Like older black people don't pronounce things correctly. It's in our DNA. Like that's what we do. We just
funny, dude.
We like to pronounce things the way we want.
I just love the fact you're like you double down on it.
What?
Like I said it right. Say the country, Vietnam.
Hey, you know what?
Now.
I'm gonna go get me a glass of water too.
Oh, that was fine. That's good. Water doesn't bug me because you're saying it right. You're just people have different accents and different, like dialects on that. That's fine. Wooder, whatever. That's fine. Yeah. It's just it's so funny when you switch the letters.
But like I was saying, it's just the different phonetics. There's like really small differences, especially like in Portuguese. There's like really small differences in like how they pronounce something with like the sounds that are in there. So it's like it's weird because in English you can butcher the language and people just deal with it. You know what I mean? Like if you when you're in America, like people don't correct you on what you're saying. They just assume what you were meaning, and then they'll give you whatever you want or do whatever you're doing. So you never know that you're not pronouncing it right because it's like people won't correct you. But if you go overseas, they'll be of course you would. Everyone hates you because you're just like, you didn't say that right.
What the fuck is that about?
You should announce that at your open mic. Like, I will be taking you off stage. Any pronunciation is incorrect.
If you're what?
Any pronunciation is
There you
incorrect.
go.
I know how to say it. I just like to talk quickly,
I
and
know.
it's
I
funner
know.
that way.
I know. And it is. Everybody's got their words. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their
What do you
things.
pronounce wrong? What's the one that you mess up on
Oh,
all
I
the
don't
time?
pronounce anything wrong. I
You're
don't know.
perfect.
No, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know until somebody calls me out on it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna give you some Wakandan names, and then once you pronounce those wrong, I'm gonna yell at you.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
I'll give you some names from Zimbabwe.
What,
Like, go ahead, Dwayne.
Okay. For those of you like, this is what Glenn tried to tell me. He said something. It was a completely wrong word last night. I don't remember what it was, but I said, dude, what are you trying to say? And he goes, you got to remember, Dwayne, English is not my first language. I'm like, that's not true. What is that bullshit?
It's a learned thing. All right. Do you really, if you really want to be truthful about it, historically,
oh God.
Yeah. I'm gonna take you back to history. Historically, Black people, as they were being brought here, which and turned into Black people, which is different than I think African Americans. Black is like a natural, like it's a natural growth out of like the culture that was created from being from Africa.
There is no way this conversation ends well for me.
I know, not at all.
There's no way I look good after this conversation.
But when we get brought over here, it is a secondary language, which weren't allowed to speak, weren't allowed to read, weren't allowed to learn. So a lot of what we had to do was interpretive in terms of like the communication back and forth. So if you think about that, it's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that is why some things are probably not pronounced as closely as one would like them to be pronounced in the English language.
No doubt. I'm not gonna.
Next time you correct me, I'm like, there you go, being Lizzo again. Next time you correct.
Then we won't be friends anymore.
We're gonna call it Lizzonese when you're.
I don't like her. Like, I don't know, man.
But no, but it is an interesting conversation in terms of like like language and speaking and learning how to.
Well, this shit's fascinating, dude. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. But
like where shit comes from, how the vernacular changes, it's amazing, dude.
But when you break it down, it's all it's all communication, right? Because what the biggest the best thing, the most easy, or not the most efficient way of communication would be telekinetic, right? If I could just basically beam thoughts to you, you know exactly what I mean without the words or whatever. So when we're forming words, we're just trying to form the thoughts through our brain and get them into your brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you trying now? Are you trying? Because I'm getting some vibes.
I'm not going
to say that out loud, Glenn. You're going to get me canceled. Whatever.
I like the part of the conversation we're at now, because I could just walk around and you're just like, I can't. I want to respond.
But here's the fun. Here's what I'll say. The same thing to you that I said last night, though. I agree with you if you're actually talking about pronunciation, but you used a totally different word. So that's not the same thing that you just tried to say. That's all I'll say to that.
That happens too. But sometimes you just, I'm trying to get you to understand the concept. Have you ever understood a concept better because somebody used the incorrect word? Has that ever happened? Like someone was trying to say something, they used the incorrect word, but it helped you understand what they meant better because of how they incorrectly used the word.
Ooh, I don't know. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, because I'd like try to interpret what people are meaning, because it's like a communication thing. So it's like I'm trying to interpret what the person is meaning. So by their incorrect word usage, I'm like, oh, you meant to say this. And like now I can also tell, like, you're like what you were thinking and why you got the word incorrectly. And I don't know, it's just like a whole.
So
you can interpret what they meant to say and how they messed it up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to justify myself here for a second. So if it comes like first of all, having been around a lot of foreigners, Like I don't correct everybody like all the time. If I hear something that's wrong, I actually, believe it or not, I don't. I only do it people I very much trust, and I do that. And if I say something, it's like because I want them to use. I don't want them to be embarrassed in other situations, and I think that comes from my wife because she,
That's respectable.
especially when she first moved to the States and we were first married, she did a lot of things. She would think words meant certain things, and I do the same thing in other languages all the time, right?
Right,
But
right.
like she would say stuff that was wrong a lot, and sometimes it was very funny, other times like one time we played the game Taboo at my team's house, and the word was cocktail, and I made a penis reference to get it because you couldn't say drink or whatever, right? And she
Right.
didn't know that was like a bad word, so she goes to church and it's like telling the group of ladies at church about how we were playing
He
this
drew
game, and she's like, and then he was like, cock. And I was like, oh no. Oh my God. Okay. That's not good. And one day they were asking her how to make a recipe. And she goes, well, I just take the scratch and then I roll it out. And they're like, what are you talking about? She's like, the scratch. I take the scratch. She's like, what do you mean? And she was saying dough, but she thought because
Ah,
everybody's made from scratch, you know what I mean? So, and I think I just,
that's hilarious.
it's crazy. So,
Made from
so
scratch. That
if
is
I
great.
do correct someone, it's usually my way of saying like,
I love
of
you.
like, it's me saying, hey, I care about you, and I don't want you to say this around people that matter, unlike me.
I think that's the name of this episode. I correct you because I love you.
I'm an asshole because I care.
Because I care. Have you noticed this though when you came back to the States with her? Because this is something that I noticed. When someone speaks with the accent, people are meaner to them.
Yeah, unless they're a hot blonde chick.
But I feel like that is, but also like on the phone or whatever, like
Oh
because
yeah.
oftentimes my ex would get like she would do like customer service and she would get like terrible customer service and
Oh
what
yeah.
is happening? She's like, I just said da, da, da. And I was like, oh, it's because you have an accent. They like people are just like really rude when
Let
someone
me
has like
call.
when they have like an accent for some reason.
Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Well, I know when I call customer service, God help me if I'm calling customer service, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I get someone who can barely speak English, I will hang up. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go through this right now, and which is horrible, and I admit that, but it's like I'm not doing this. Like I'm on the phone with USAA for like an hour. I'm like, nope, thank you. No, ma'am.
But usually
I'm
USA
good.
is pretty solid because they're all in Texas.
They
So it's like
used
when
to
you
be.
call, like I called Microsoft one time, and the
Oh
guy
no,
that
you
I
can't call a
got,
computer company, dude.
he said his name was Chris, but he couldn't pronounce Chris, so I knew his name wasn't Chris. It was definitely like Sandeep or something, and he was like, Chris, my name is Creeps, and I'm like,
Like,
you're
no,
supposed
it's
to be
not.
saying Chris. The script is
Oh, it's
saying Chris,
not.
and you can't say it. And then he just
Oh
kept
my
like
god.
repeating their little script, and it was infuriating. So I get that.
That's like going to the hotels in Korea. I don't think your name is Kimberly. I'm pretty sure that's not true.
It's like
It's
they say it all weird.
crazy. United, I think, is the worst. USA is okay, yeah, and United's the worst. T-Mobile used to be really bad. It was always somebody I couldn't understand, and now they're all in Richmond, so
Oh,
it's
really?
hilarious. I
Yeah.
always try to sell my comedy. I'm like, hey, I'm coming to Richmond next week. You should come check out a show.
Well,
Every time I call
the
them.
way the country's going, dude, we're going to be the third world. We're going to be the customer service centers for the rest of the world, and people are going to be complaining about getting Americans on the
Not this
customer
generation. They're not going to want this generation of customers to be like, what do you
service.
want?
Yeah, dude.
Why? Why do you need my help? It's like,
Everyone's so disgruntled nowadays. It's
oh
so
my
weird.
gosh, dude,
Everybody's
I hate it.
unhappy. It's just
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's a
me too.
we wanted
I'm happy.
equality and we have it. Everyone's like very unhappy with each other.
Yeah, yeah, you can have it, but
What you got coming up next, man? I know that you have some dates coming up soon. Where are you going?
yeah. Oh man, where am I going? Depends on when this drops. When does this come out?
Usually I'll do them like Monday, unless I get like another one in the queue. So
Yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah.
Monday would be best.
Well,
Unless I
let's
do it like,
see.
yeah, probably Monday.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm local for the next couple weeks actually. For the next couple weeks, and I'm heading up to Syracuse, New York, at the end of the month to do the Funny Bone up there. But yeah, hanging out here. I'm running a show in Nokesville, Virginia on the 12th. It's going to be
Ooh.
awesome. It's always a blast. That's actually a free show. And then yeah, I'll be down in Richmond doing some stuff. So yeah, I mean, the best way, just check out the website, DewayneWhiteComedy.com, and then check out the calendar. There's stuff all over the place. But yeah, super excited going to Syracuse, New York, then going back out to Des Moines to the Funny Bone, opening for Brooks Wheelan.
What's your favorite place to perform so far? Besides your own place, your own spot.
No, it's not my favorite. Wait a minute, that's a lot of work. My own place, I'm like, ugh, I'm always mad. That's why you always see me, because I'm in producer mode. Producer Dewayne is a jackass.
Yeah. And then I always just stroll in like, hey man,
hey, what's up? I'm late again. So
it's because of the kid, okay? It's because that's why I have this podcast. That's why I'm always late. It's because of the kid. Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I really like the Funny Bones. They're very good. They're very professional. I like that. I like clubs, man. Just clubs and real comedy clubs. I love them. I mean, I just love the vibe there. I really enjoy it. I'll be okay. Tacoma Comedy Club, best green room I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
I will say that. Oh my God, super fun room. I was out there not too long ago with Best Medicine Brigade, and my God, great room for comedy. Super hot the whole time. But my God, the green room was insane. The amount of snacks was just insane. I like green rooms where they're big enough to actually sit down and not be on another comic's lap. Those are good.
Right.
But it was fun. But no, I definitely dig the Funny Bone. I mean, my favorite play is obviously DC Improv by a long shot. It's just fun.
I just submitted there. I'm trying to get in because I've still yet to do improv.
You haven't done the improv yet?
I haven't done the improv. I'm trying to get in there.
Man, get on there, dude.
Actually, I did the lounge because I took the class.
Oh, the class.
Yeah, but I haven't been on the mic yet, so I'm still. Okay. But in all fairness, I have been lax in my submission, so I got to keep like sending in.
Well, and it's just a great. I mean, gosh, that main room in there. First of all, the staff is amazing. Everybody's cool. The owners are, and I'm not saying this just to kiss up. The staff is cool. The owners are cool. Everybody, it's like they really run it like a family. You saw that during the pandemic, man. They really took care of their people really, really well, and stuff like that. And it was super cool. But just, man, it's so perfectly set up now for comedy. I mean, it was even before the pandemic, it was awesome, but they made changes during the pandemic to even make it better. And you got that low ceiling basement feel. Every laugh pops. It's awesome. It's just a cool place to be. So it's probably my favorite by a long shot. So
nice improv. It's nice. Yeah, man. I gotta get there. But yeah, the Electric Palm, we should mention that. That's every Tuesday, which is a great room, which is, in terms of an open mic room, it's a really great room to try stuff out in, and and come there. The crowds are super responsive. You've created a really cool comedy environment. So
thanks,
you
man.
gotta be commended. I know you don't like compliments, but good job, dude.
I just don't know how to deal with them. I never got them as a kid. No, it's good, man. I mean, dude, they've been great. I can't say anything. We've been there for 2 years now, and gosh, we started there right as the pandemic was breaking. They're a great venue, and they've treated us like gold. They've done a lot of improvements that were really focused just for comedy, and yeah, I mean, lately, especially,
they built you a wall.
They built me a wall and made the cooking staff pay for it, but it was crazy. It did. The kitchen used to be, for those who don't know, the kitchen used to be like a 3/4 wall, so we get a lot of kitchen noise, and they built a wall with like real doors and everything, so it's much more quiet.
They did not cheap on the wall either. That's like they got a good wall. I was like, damn, they really do like you up here.
No, well, the staff in there, honestly, they put in a lot of money in general just to upgrade that place in general from what it was years ago. And dude, it's great. And honestly, the audiences that have been coming out have been incredible lately. They've just been, I mean, for an open mic. And I mean, we do the shows there. So we're there every Tuesday for an open mic, every other Friday for a show. And they've always been great. But even now, like the open mics, we've got an audience, which is like unheard of at an open mic, right? It's usually just you and some comics and some really angry wait staff. But dude, they've been coming out a lot, and we've been packing out the room lately. So I can't complain about that at all.
I got
there every other Wednesday doing the riff or something wacky.
I haven't done this the whole show, but I gotta go to the serious camera and be like, Dewayne White has set up an amazing camera or amazing comedy room. You should check it out. It's the Electric Palm. Every Tuesday, every other Wednesday, there's a riff mic, and then every month there's a showcase type show, which is
twice a
really,
month.
you got to check it out. Twice a month.
Every other Friday.
Every other Friday?
Yeah.
Damn.
If we're not there on a Wednesday, we're there on a Friday. So that's kind of how that works out. So we're there 2 nights a week.
It's a great show, man. You should check it
Yeah.
out. All right.
Only
Anyway,
a few tickets left for this Friday. We're almost done. It's gonna be awesome.
there you go. You see his socials on the screen there. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, it's White Dewayne Comedy. Why'd you have to put the white first? Of course.
Chevy did that to me.
Who did?
I'll be honest, it used to be, this is no shit. It used to be Dewayne White Comedy, and right as I got ready to go on that tour with Josh Blue, someone hacked my account. They deleted my account, and so I had to start over.
Wow.
And Shevitz had been making jokes on stage about me, like, hey, if he was in my neighborhood, he would be which Dewayne? White Dewayne. So I was like, screw it, I'm White Dewayne Comedy.
White Dewayne. You know what? It is a unique name. It is a unique name for a white dude. You don't hear a lot of those.
That is facts. In the Midwest, a few, but
yeah,
they're all related.
Jamals or any white Jamals?
There's got to be one or two.
Gotta be one or two. Someone's got to be there. Someone's mom had braids and went the extra mile. So White Dewayne Comedy on Instagram. On Twitter, it's D_dub_74 on your Twitters, and then DewayneWhiteComedy.com is where you can check him out. If you want to go to all those shows, see what he's got coming up next, and listen to some interesting clips, or get cooking tips. You go. I just threw that in there. That's something that you should add to your website. You should tell them how to grill some venison, because you make some.
I can do that.
Pretty amazing venison.
I can make venison.
So listen, this has been great. This has been fun. I've had fun with Dewayne. I could keep talking to him for hours and hours on end, incorrectly pronouncing words and having him correct me, because that's my pastime. That's what I really like to do. But I think we've had enough for today. He did not get canceled for anything that he said, which is my fault. I really tried hard, but I did not succeed. But it was a good time. I think everybody enjoyed it. We had some great conversations. Everything was pronounced mostly correctly, except for Vietnamese.
Ooh, good job. That was good. You're learning.
Did I say it right the last time?
You did. You said it right that time. Yeah. Good job.
I think that's a good way to end it. You know what I'm saying? Vietnamese and Blerd Dad's out. Peace, y'all.
Thanks.